next presenter.
Great. Hi! Welcome to the University of Chester and Dance section. So I'm Evelyn Jameson, Programme Leader.
I'm Sarah Spies, one of the dance tutors here. I'm very happy for you to join us in the studio tonight with our lovely students. Tonight, the idea about tonight is just to share a little bit with you the dance that we do at Chester, what you might expect if you're thinking about coming for an audition. So we get to share a little bit about dance technique class and also some performance work. And then at the end of tonight's session, you really get to ask Evelyn and I questions directly about anything that you want to know, whether that's about course content or if that's about your audition day. So we're really looking forward to spending a bit of time with you. We're very excited about this setup, and we really just want to have a lovely time in the studio.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sarah. So behind us this evening, you can see our graduates, our students, and our graduate company enCompass collective who are leading the workshop this evening. They're going to do a bit of company class, followed by a duet that they've choreographed for a performance platform recently. And then after that, we'll have a question and answer session whereby you can ask Sarah and I, the graduates, some questions about the university course.
Yeah, and I think the course at Chester is really is a very exciting course actually, and we focus a lot on studio practice. So what happens in the studio, the practice of dance, of making dance, of performing dance, of thinking about dance, of facilitating dance. So it's really a practitioner-orientated course. And of course, it's also important to know that it's very much a contemporary dance-based course, and that you'll really experience when you come for the audition with us. So we're really looking forward and hoping that some of you might actually come and join us for the audition.
Right. Lovely. Thank you, Sarah. So I'm going to introduce you now to Josh Slater and Ellie Russell from enCompass. So Josh,
just warming up.
They're warming up now. He's going to come down and introduce himself and have a chat.
Do you want to sit, Josh?
No, I'm
okay, great.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Josh, and I'm one of the co-directors of enCompass Collective with Ellie, who's just behind warming up. And this is our usual kind of Monday night company class, which runs for an hour and a half, in which we work with students on phrase work, travelling, a little bit of technique and dynamic, as well as working through repertoire work from our company.
Lovely, thank you.
So tonight, what can we expect, Jesus?
Tonight you'll expect some phrase work,
Okay.
some phrases which we've been working on for a couple of weeks,
Nice.
with some nice travelling phrases as well, some embodied warming up and moving through the body in an active and engaged way.
Lovely.
Nice.
Thank you.
Hello.
So, we're just going to go now, and Josh is going to lead us through the class. Lovely.
Evelyn and I will move out of the view, and then we will move in again to the interview session. So lovely. Enjoy your time with us. We're really looking forward.
Really spread out in space. Meditation on first aid going down. Now going front as well.
be the girl you loved. Be the girl you loved. I'll wait. So show me why you're strong. Ignore everybody else. We're alone now. I'll wait. So show me why you're strong. Ignore everybody else. We're alone now. Suddenly I'm hit. It's this darkness of the dawn. And your friends are gone. And your friends won't come. So show me where you fit. So show me where you fit. I'll wait. So show me why you're strong. Ignore everybody else. We're alone now. I'll wait. I'll wait. Suddenly I'm hit. It's this darkness of the dawn. And your friends are gone. And your friends won't come. So show me where you fit.
Good. Let's move to the Take to Church phrase. So the one that starts on the floor facing scratch.
My lover's got humor. She's the giggle at a funeral. Knows everybody's disapproval. I should have worshipped her sooner. If the heavens ever did speak, she's the last true mouthpiece. Every Sunday's getting more bleak. A fresh poison each week. We were born sick, you heard them say it. My church offers no absolutes. She tells me worship in the bedroom. The only heaven I'll be sent to is when I'm alone with you. I was born sick, but I love it. Command me to be well. Amen. 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 Take me to church, I worship like a dog at the shrine of your light. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. Offer me that deathless death, the good God, let me give you my life. Take me to church, I worship like a dog at the shrine of your life. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. Offer me that deathless death, the good God, let me give you my life. If I'm a pagan of the good time, my lover's the sunlight. Keep the goddess on my side. She demands a sacrifice. Drain the whole sea, get something shiny, something meaty for the main course. Let's a fine looking high horse. What you got in the stable? We've a lot of starving faithful. That looks tasty, that looks plenty. This is hungry work. Take me to church. I worship like a dog at the shrine of your light. I'll tell you my sins so you can sharpen your knife. Offer me my deathless death, the good God, let me give you my life. Take me to church. I worship like a dog at the shrine of your light. I'll tell you my sins so you can sharpen your knife. Offer me my deathless death, the good God, let me give you my life. No masters or kings when the ritual begins. There is no sweeter innocence than ardent of sin. In the madness and soil of that sadly scene, only there.
Just have a notice sort of conversation. So the movement there, I thought there, just about kind of action find the moments where you've got that slow effect, really sharp dynamic drop, then it's really nice and vague and slow. I got that shit, breathe, dynamic. So you really get a sense of this rise to foreground, the breath like that. Breathe. All together.
You can sharpen your knife, offer me that deathless death, the good God, let me give you my life. Take me to church, I worship like a dog at the shrine of your life. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife, offer me that deathless death, the good God, let me give you my life. If I'm a pagan of the good time, my lover's in sunlight, keep the goddess on my side. She
Good. Yes, let's go for a drink and we'll do the paraphrase. And we'll walk through it again. Remember with this next phrase, it's really about the connection with the person who you're dancing with, as well as the next pen, really not to say. That's the whole point of this next eye contact. Really key. This is why some people love to enjoy it. Right? But I'm really kind of fun and enthusiasm to it. No, let's not do it. Here we go. That's it. Really good breath here to help it nice and smooth. Nice and soft. Find each other. Right back. Focus that top forward. Nice. In pairs. In pairs. Soft.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I took the perfect avenue down the road to both of you. Did I go Dutch? This is too much. With all the money in the world, you could never buy this girl quite enough. It will be tough. If romancing me with neons is something you should do, make the letters bright and luminous and blue, and get me waking up, shake it up, tangled up. You could be quaking up, make it up, tangled up. You can't be faking it, making it for my love. Before it's tragedy, don't get me tangled up. I can't separate your sins. To me, you're acting like you're twins. This is a mess. Is this a test? How many guesses do I get till only one of you is left? You're quite the same, if love's the game. I want to see emotions color in the sky, to the point it would make me wanna cry. And get me waking up, shake it up, tangled up. You could be quaking up, make it up, tangled up. You can't be faking it, making it for my love. Before it's tragedy, don't get me tangled up.
Nice and soft like that. So now we're going to go to the one that we learned quite recently. So the drums on one start. Just in the mark where it kind of lies. And then we're going to find out the flow of energy through. I feel like it's not physical movement with your brain and move to the current sense of flow through all that. So we start with this back end and we go.
We go.
Bring the end, step it out, facing arm. Nice. Pulse, back. Shoulder, push away, turn, drop, turn, and let that arm really carry. It's like someone's pulling you off towards this direction. So I sense that energy still shooting out your fingers. Yep. So we got, we bring it in, we push it away, that leads us into the turn, so we drop towards the side, find that lift, turn, and pull. Yeah? Turn. Yeah, nice and soft. Ready, and turn, sit down, over, let that arm pull you, pulse, sit back, shoulder, push away, turn, torso, and choose again. Yeah. And it's so direct, back on the whole time, really this slight because we're trying to take too much advantage and then control breathe, so then grab that momentum where pick it up and shift and go momentum shift and then gather it again. So you've got to really be controlled without looking tense and fixed. And that's the hard thing about this race, because you want to put so much energy into it, really shift it. So we'll do it again, really go down the line. Okay? How about this?
in person yes, and questions on discussion.
Yeah, thank you.
Now with this one, there's a lot more space than in the last one. To take all that energy you just built up, to find your need to replace space as benefits. And let's travel too far on this first. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So let's put it in practice. So yeah. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Release. Shift. And drop. Shift. Pendulum, nice and kick, laddering, jump, nice and release the top, as a company might jump around, all around, find number 3, shift that come down, turn up, and jump, reach up, shift, jump, and run past the back. Yeah? Feel alright with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember to breathe, this was a long one, you need to really, really breathe.
Remember to keep your open eyes. You have to miss sight for that. I'll go wait for you. Okay?
We do 4. We do 2 4s depending on how you go like those.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? That works. Means you've got to think about really finding each other's company more because they're all right.
What is in the size?
Just a tap.
Cool. The garden was blessed by the gods of me and you. We headed westward to find ourselves some truth. Oh, what you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? We counted all our reasons, excuses that we made. We found ourselves some treasure and threw it all away. Oh, what you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? What you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? When I dance alone and the sun's beating down, blame it on me. When I lose control and the veil's overused, blame it on me. What you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? Caught in the tide of blossom, caught in the carnival. Your confidence forgotten, now see the gypsies roll. Oh, what you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? What you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? When I dance alone and the sun's beating down, blame it on me. When I lose control and the veil's overused, blame it on me. What you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? What you waiting for? No, what you waiting?
Change groups. Change groups. That second half from this week was really, really beautiful. It really fine tuned all the frames. Those cells fine tuned, it really shows confidence really nicely. This first bit, we're nearly there, just not quite. Really fine those frames. You've got it this first bit, got it into blank. This shift and just start to lose it. So really fine tuned for this kick. Watch you have a kick. What we really have is jump, we really have bend, we really have a bend. It's our crown. Okay? We'll go yeah. Ooh, that's. Change. Really find the breath through it. Really nice and soft. Hard work. Soft.
The garden was blessed by the gods of me and you. We headed westward to find ourselves some truth. Oh, what you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? We counted all our reasons, excuses that we made. We found ourselves some treasure and threw it all away. Oh, what you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? What you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? When I dance alone and the sun's beating down, blame it on me. When I lose control and the veil's overused, blame it on me. What you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? Caught in the tide of blossom, caught in the carnival. Your confidence forgotten, now see the gypsies roll. Oh, what you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? What you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? When I dance alone and the sun's beating down, blame it on me. When I lose control and the veil's overused, blame it on me. What you waiting for? No, what you waiting?
That was really good. That was really good. Hey, back. You're going to get your question down and then cool down. Really gathering the breath back in, really breathing through all those joints. Really staying all over the beach now too. Really keep the shoulders. Side to side. And release my forward. Nice back. Really fun.
Thank you very much. So what we're going to do now is so Josh and Ellie are going to perform their duet that they've created, and they're going to tell us a bit more about it. Okay, Josh and Ellie. Hello.
This is our duet called The Space Between Us. This kind of duet is stripped back, so it's just about two bodies in space, a male and a female. And it's kind of our first work that was kind of finished and almost polished. So yeah, enjoy.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
just going to have some questions. If you have anything you would like to ask us, we're here.
Well, we've got one question from Naomi who wants to know about transfers into the second year, if it's possible to transfer straight into the second year. That's something that we...
It is possible, but I would suggest making contact with us directly and perhaps coming to see us, perhaps joining into some classes.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a possibility, but I think to make some personal contact, perhaps an
I
interview.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be lovely. So Naomi, we'd like to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what we'll do is we'll put the contact details for yourselves and the admissions team as well, and
That's great.
be able
and then we can
to go through
go
that.
from there.
Correct.
I guess then just general sort of questions that we get quite often. Questions about how much dancing. Obviously, we've seen a lot of dancing, but in a typical sort of day-to-day sort of setting, how much dancing can they expect to do?
Yeah, they do lots and lots of dancing. Every day they have classes, and these range from studio practice, what you probably know as dance technique classes, and they do choreography and improvisation, and they do dance production. They do choreographic projects. So there is a lot of activity, but you're possibly used to doing maybe a 9 to 3 day or a 9 to 4 day. Whereas at Chester, we can start first thing in the morning, or we can start at lunchtime and go through to 7. So the day isn't, it's like a professional's day actually. If you were working as a professional dance artist, you would have to work at, working different hours. And we give you time also for you to practice, where students are expected to do their own practicing, their own research.
And I think there's the possibility also, so your timetable classes give you the opportunity, of course, to work with the tutors in situ, and then we also expect you to work independently of that, so to prepare, to rehearse, etc., independent study. And then also that gives students space to also work, to have part-time work, because some students do that. And I think the timetable here is quite supportive of that. But at the same time, it depends how involved you want to be. And I think the lovely students are sitting here. They're all seeing me. You can't see them. But some of them are nodding. So I think that that does make it clear that you can be really, really, really engaged and really busy. But if your life requires you to work part-time, that is also facilitated. And that's important.
Very
yeah.
I guess we've got the dreaded question about assessments and how they work, and are they written, or do they take on a mixture?
Not dreaded here. Yeah, I don't know if you want to...
Okay, I'll start then.
Okay.
See what we do. It's a practice-led course, so you're in the studio making and doing all the time, and rightly so, because it's dance. But many of the assessments are actually where you're showing off what you can do practically, and so therefore, just like what I was saying, in the studio and making pieces and presenting. There are written elements, of course, but it's not heavy. There's not such a huge amount of written work on it, but it's there to support and for you to be able to articulate your learning in a written form. And also you have to speak. There is an assessment in the second year, and that's where you have an oral. And it's very important that dancers can actually promote themselves and talk about the learning as well as just through the body.
I think it's very important to say that dance is already a critical form in and of itself. So it doesn't mean that the writing and the thinking happen separately or in a different space. And I think very often students think that they're neatly split down the side, but they're not. When you are working in the studio, as you were seeing tonight with Josh and Ellie and the company, there's very much a critical interrogation. So questioning on various levels, whether it's anatomically, sorry, I've got my tongue tied, anatomically or sequentially, questions about space, spatial politics, timing. So I think even in the practical context of doing the work in the studio, there's always a type of questioning that happens alongside that, and sometimes that's directly between your tutors and yourselves as the individual student or as a collective, and also sometimes that happens reflectively, so when you think about your own learning. And that's where the assessment strategies come in. So as Ed was saying, very much that's driven by how you engage with your learning, your thinking, your doing. Because all of these activities are not separate. When we dance, we think and we do. We're engaged in what we do. It's not separate. So I think the assessment tasks are framed around that way of moving thinking. And as I've said, it's very much about a moving intelligence or moving intelligently. So that's built in to how we sometimes reflect through verbal dialogue, sometimes write analytically or reflectively, sometimes engaged in performance lectures or in practical presentations. So there's really a variety of modes rather than writing and dancing. Voila.
We just had a question come in from Alice who wants to know what the typical class size is.
I am. Yes, I think.
Well, for some classes, most classes actually, you're in sets. You're actually in smaller groups, whereby it's wonderful at Chester we have small group sizes, so sometimes 15 in a set, and in a year we don't have huge numbers in a year, maybe 20, 22. So the cohort is small, and therefore the students get a lot of individual attention, which they wouldn't get if they were on a much larger course. So we actually really value that, and we get to know them individually. We all know them as people.
Very much.
And I think that's something that probably Josh and Ellie's graduates, because they graduated over a year ago, it's been a bit now, and that's something that I think is a great strength, Alice. And I don't know if you guys want to come and join me. Come in.
I hope we can. I think, could I just add in one thing before we say that also? I think, Alice, this is quite important. On some level, you have your classes where you are with your tutors, and sometimes that is a whole group of an academic class, say for instance 20 to 25, or as you've seen in the studio, between 10 and 15. But above and beyond that, you actually have a personal academic tutor. So this is a person that really looks after you academically, where you can always have one-to-one contact. And we have an open door policy at Chester, and I think that's really useful for students to email, make appointments, etc. So there's many layers of that, from the teaching to the one-to-one academic tutoring. And then you could also just pop in whenever. So it's really quite there's a lot of contact.
A lot of support.
Yes.
It's that support to transition from student to dance artist, and whatever form that takes, and whichever route that you decide to take, whether it's doing purely performance work or choreographing or going into dance teaching. And it's that support through application forms for applying for platforms when you go and take your pieces that you've created internally within the course and within modules actually to a professional level, which there is so much support for that here from the staff, which enables you to really make a nice, easy transition between student to dance artist.
And they're always here to talk as well. We've graduated a year and a half ago, but they're still very much in our lives, which is great.
It is nice. It is nice. It's great.
Cool. I think one of the things we talk about at Chester quite a lot is about employability and careers and that sort of thing. So how does that work for students when they're here and then hopefully moving on afterwards? What sort of employment or work placement opportunities are there?
Well, in the second year to start with, there's a work-based learning module. So for about a good 6 weeks, most of the university students, and if they don't all go on the work-based learning program, they do another module called performance practice, which is actually simulated professional experience. So it's actually getting right in there and getting their teeth into an understanding of the workplace. And it varies from teaching in schools to performance work to whatever the student wants to follow. It could be production, it could be administration. That is actually a wonderful opportunity here at Chester. There are many other courses that maybe do it on a kind of ad hoc basis, but this is something that is very structured, and they get academic credit for that second year option. You also can study abroad. You could take a year whereby you could actually go to another country to experience work there.
I think we have 2 students going off sort of early next year to the States, actually.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's quite exciting.
So I think that's a great strength of the programme. And then that's followed through into the third year, whereby students are given more of the reins, if you like, and they're expected to sort of, well, it's not just an expectation, they want to. They're more driven and actually able at that stage to take hold of the workplace. So through negotiated study, which is an independent sort of project, they can actually pursue a lot of that. We have contact with the profession all the time. We've got artists coming in. We run a Space to Move programme that's actually run by the students. And they organise classes and we take them to see performances, and we also have residency programmes. We also have a module called Developing Professional Practice, which is exactly what it says in the tin. And it's actually preparing students for that. For that next step, it's the final step into the actual profession, how to market yourself, how to promote yourself. And I think it gives students a lot of confidence.
Yeah. And that also filters into the Riverside Innovation Centre that we have here, which is business support, because a lot of dancers end up going freelance and creating your own work and working for yourself and being your own boss. And there's lots of elements of that which are quite difficult to get your head around, whether it's your finances, marketing yourself, understanding what it is to run a business or run yourself as a business. And there's so much support there for students, and with the opportunity of being awarded space and a grant of money, which we were very lucky to be awarded £2,000 when we went through that process and had that support, and now we'll have that continual support from them for free, which is a very good benefit that you can get at this university.
Absolutely. And I was saying to the third year cell, it's open to the whole body of students. It's something that students are offered, a graduate startup scheme, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity. And I think many of them will be taking that on and using that route.
It's not actually a question, but we've just had a message from someone called Lydia, who just wants to say how much she misses you. Says it's an incredible course, you'll never want to leave, and it's the most inspirational 3 years that she's had.
Lydia!
Alice has just come in as well, actually, with another question, follow-up question, that's asking about performance opportunities throughout the course.
Okay. Okay. Alice, I think there are really loads of opportunities from the level of modular development. So say, for instance, you're developing within a particular module a piece of work. Those platforms to a year-wide platform to an inter-year platform. So we have 3 sort of bigger platforms throughout the year. The first one is in Christmas. So, and then we have an Easter show and we have a summer show. So those are the 3 big platforms that are actually structured. And they support student work from within the modules, but they also support independent student work. So if people have ideas that they want to test and try out, they can actually have feedback with staff members to develop a particular inquiry or process or piece of finished work. So those 3 platforms are student-led, but they are very much geared towards the development of your creative work. And then above and beyond that, I think as Josh mentioned earlier also, we really do encourage, because we think it's very important not only to simulate the professional work within these 4 walls, but actually to go out there and be part of platforms that are for emerging artists. So we do want to encourage students to start to consider themselves as emerging artists, and the way that you do that is really to kind of link up with that infrastructure of festivals. And in the Northwest, we're really lucky because Chester sits sort of neatly in between Manchester and Liverpool, so we really get to draw from both those really vibrant cities also, and we have a very vibrant scene starting to happen in Chester itself. So it's really nice to have a selection of those platforms. So for that, as Josh and Ellie were saying earlier, students from the process of writing the applications to actually developing their lighting and sort of sound aspects of that, and understanding what that means to bring that a larger package to your own creative work, to actually engage in writing about their work, perhaps engaging in artist talk or discussions about the work, the process of making. So how that longer learning process actually is extended into the professional industry, I guess. So there's loads of opportunities. I hope I haven't spoken too much about that, but I think there's a variety of ways to engage with that also throughout your 3 years and then as you graduate. So I think you can see that and you can really feel how that builds throughout your 3 years here. Great.
Cool. We've only got a couple of minutes left.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
doesn't time fly? I think we've hopefully got some people here watching who've already made an application,
Right.
some people who yet to make an application. Maybe just maybe just talk a little bit about what they can expect from the application process and the audition and that sort of thing.
So the audition here at Chester, you do you come in the morning, 10 o'clock, and there's a very nice welcome talk by our deputy head, and then you have another talk by program team, the staff. You get to meet the staff and the students. In a minute, before we go, we'll put the webcam round so you can wave. So you'll see those lovely students again. They're first, second, and third year. They're not all 1 year, which I think was lovely tonight, just to say that you saw students from across different year groups. And then we talk a bit more about the course. You can ask us some questions, we have lunch, and then to our workshop where we do a technique class. We do an hour's class.
It's really lovely.
It's lovely, isn't it? And it's fun, and the students join in, so you don't feel, oh my goodness, I'm exposed. We try to make it as enjoyable and as fun as possible. So try and relax and don't worry about it. And then we do a choreographic workshop where you create together, and that's really good because it lets us see how you move. Yeah. And then after the workshop, we have a little discussion, followed by a tour of the building and any other questions that you might want to ask. So all these guys have been through the process, and so do you. But it's a good day. Yeah. It's a nice day. We want you to enjoy it, and it's really a taste of what it's like at Chester.
Yeah. And I think what we always say, sorry not to carry on about it, but what we always say is it's as important for you to get a taste of how we work as much as it is the other way around. So I think it's very much about spending that time together and seeing on what level you connect with the tutors, the type of work, the ways of thinking about dancing, etc. So it is very much an exchange, and that's very important for us. So it's actually a lovely day for all of us. So we do enjoy them.
Thank you. And just before we go, we could just turn around. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.